Hello and welcome to our next week of learning the laws of Avas Chesed, loving kindness by the Chafetz Chaim. So we mentioned last time how the world is really built on Chesed and it's a foundation, loving kindness, helping each other out, and it's really what keeps the world going. Now the Chafetz Chaim points out in his book that we're not just commanded to do kindness, we're actually commanded to love doing kindness for others. Hence the name of his book, which is Loving Kindness. He quotes the prophet in Micha who says, he has told you, he meaning Hashem has told you, man, what is good. What does Hashem require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? So, it's more than, we're supposed to view helping one another in a way that is similar to like how you would view, let's say, your child. Let's say it's your child's bar mitzvah and you want to get your child a nice suit so he can look nice at his bar mitzvah. And so you buy him a nice suit and he looks like such a grown man, like he's really coming into himself on his bar mitzvah day. You don't view it as a burden that you bought him the suit, like, oh, well, I bought you a suit. You're excited, you're getting joy from seeing your child looking beautiful on his bar mitzvah day. It's your pleasure to do that for him. So it's the same way that we view doing chesed with an excitement that we would do it for our family, is how we're supposed to have that excitement when we do chesed for Klal Yisrael, for everybody in the Jewish people. So just a story that the Chafetz Chaim gives to illustrate this, and then I want to talk about it a bit more practically as well. He says that there's a story that was told over by a big rabbi named Rabbi Bunam, and he says that he at a time was in Europe and he was traveling, and he stopped one night on his travels. He stopped at an inn. It was very common, that they used to have these inns where people would lodge overnight. They'd get a drink, a warm bed, and then they'd continue on their travels, because it wasn't like today where you could just travel from town to town in a few hours. It would take a while to travel. So he stopped at this inn, and the innkeeper started to tell him about his troubles. He said, business here really has not been good. I'm really struggling financially. And I've been going through hard times. And he started to share with the rabbi a little bit how he was, dealing with things. And some time passed, the rabbi was sitting and enjoying a drink and, a meal. And a poor man came into the inn. And he said to the innkeeper, I'm really, really freezing cold. And I have nowhere to stay for tonight. And I really don't have money to pay you either. Would I be able to stay in your lodge tonight? And the innkeeper said, it's okay, yes, you can stay here. We have empty rooms and you can stay here free of charge. And that was very special, and that's really amazing. But then something further happened. The man said, I'm so cold. Do you have any vodka you can give me just to help me warm up? I feel like I can't come to myself. I just need like a vodka to help me. So he said, sure, go to your room and I'll bring you vodka. And then the rabbi saw the innkeeper do something crazy. What did the innkeeper do? He poured some vodka in a glass and he said, no, it's not right. And he spilled it out. He poured a little more in the glass and he said, no, it's not right. And he spilled it out. And he did this 3, 4, 5 times until he finally said, okay, now I can bring this to him. He brought it to the man. And when he came back, the rabbi looked at him and said, can I ask you a question? You just told me how much you're struggling financially. What was that about? Why did you keep pouring a glass and then pouring it out and pouring it in and pouring it out? You just wasted a nice amount of vodka, and you just said you don't really have the money to do that. And the innkeeper was, a pious man, even though he was struggling, and he said, I wanted to do this mitzvah. I wanted to do this chesed, this loving kindness, but I wanted to do it in the truest way. And when I first poured that first glass, I felt a little resentful. And I said, no, it's not the right glass. I don't want to give this to him. So I poured it out. And then I did it again. And I did it again until I mustered it up inside of myself that I could really give it to him with love. And once I got to that level, then I gave him that glass of vodka. And why does this book bring down that story? It's to show us that we do have somewhat control of our emotions. Now I want to talk about that practically. Listen, we're not going to always enjoy every chesed that comes our way. Sometimes somebody calls us late at night and we're about to get into bed and they want to talk to us, they're having a hard day, and we just know that we're really not up for it. And sometimes we're really not up for it, and we have to know our limitations, right? Doing chesed is also doing chesed to yourself. You have to know what your limitations are. You can't push yourself to do something that is so beyond your level that you're just going to fall apart. But at the same time, you are able to somewhat control your emotions. There is an ability to train yourself to love chesed a little bit more than you might right now. So if you find, and everyone knows for themselves what that level is. You know, we know people, my husband is very close to Rabbi in Israel, Rabbi Machlis, who is the paradigm of chesed, and his wife passed away, but she was also the paradigm. I mean, they host Shabbos meals in their house with hundreds of people every Shabbos, and they do it with joy. And they have people that come from, all walks of life, people that steal from them. Their house is a wreck after Shabbos. They have to hire a cleaning crew to clean up from all the meals, and they do it with joy. Now, is that going to be everybody's level? Of course not. But we can train ourselves to love chesed a little bit more. If somebody asks us for money and we're feeling a little bit like, oh, so not in the mood right now, we can train ourselves to say, maybe I can make myself a little bit more in the mood. Hashem wants us to love doing chesed, and if he's commanding it for us, it means it's something that we can do. And next time we're going to talk more about how when we do chesed, we are literally upholding the world. It's not just like, oh, we're being nice. But the Torah says chesed is literally one of the foundations of the world. So yes, every time that you do some chesed, you can give yourself a little pat in the back because you are doing something that is upholding the world. So I really encourage everybody to think about for themselves, what on their level can they do to just enjoy chesed a little bit more, with a little bit less of a fetch? Maybe there's something that's a little hard for you to do, but you can do it with a bit more enthusiasm, and you can try to take your chesed a little bit to the next level, to try to enjoy it a little more when that person stops you and takes your time a little bit, or somebody asks you for a play date that maybe, isn't one of the, kids that you normally see your kid playing with, but maybe going out of your comfort zone a little bit, whatever that chesed is. And hopefully together we can help bring this chesed and light into the world and help make the world a better place. And we're going to talk next time how God reflects what we do. And by us doing more chesed and bringing more light into this world, that God should in turn also bring more chesed and more light and kindness into the world that we're living in. Have a great week. Have a great day. And thanks for learning with me.